Hi everyone, how are you doing? Thank you so much for watching this live. I appreciate all of you. I hope you know that. I'm just gonna wait for a few more minutes and for everyone to get on. But we'll be talking about the 10 reasons why you should stop listening to your inner voice so you can build self-trust with your intuition. I'll be sharing with you some ways that I show my clients how to build self-trust with their intuition by putting their inner voice in a compartment, basically. And I'll be sharing with you how I do that with my program that I am relaunching again on October 10th called the AAA Supercharged Empath Program. And of course, as you know, I follow the numbers. So I've been shown by my angels, by my spirits, the numbers 1010 a lot. I've been seeing the numbers 24 a lot, of course. So I'll be following those number sequences, and of course I've been seeing 1111 and ones and things like that. So yeah, I'll be following those number sequences with my launch of my program. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys have had a great day. I'm actually still at my job, my corporate job. I'll be leaving very soon after I'm done with my live. I just wanted to make sure that I got here on time. Hi Rebecca, how are you? I hope you had a good vacation. Whew, man. I have had a pretty long day. Like I said, I'm at my corporate job right now. So, you know, I work in a lab. So I was in and out of lab all day. So I'm super glad to be done. And I'm super glad to be with all of you. Of course. Wonderful. I hope you guys have had a great day so far too. All right. Let me put the link in the comments right now so I don't forget. Oop. There we go. I'll just put it later. Yeah, I'll just put it later. Okay, just giving everyone a few more minutes and then let's just get started. Whew. Hi, Evelyn. All right, let's get started. So, 10 reasons why you need to stop listening to your inner voice in order for you to build self-trust with your intuition. So, what is your inner voice? And oftentimes we get confused and we get misled. Everyone's been saying, how do I trust my inner voice? How do I know which inner voice to listen to? Like, what's really me and who is the other person? Which one is my truest and highest form of myself? Well, really, your inner voice is not you. It's your mind. It's your mind, it's your brain, it's your mental voice. And can take literally both sides of the conversation. So your mind can create a question and create an answer and create an answer for the question, and it can just go in a whirlwind in a circle of just answering its own question and questioning its own answers. It can take on multiple perspectives. That's the thing about your mind. That's the thing about your mental voice. It can just keep going on circles. And what you have to understand is that your mental voice, your mind, it's your vocal mechanism that makes you think that there's someone else talking to you. It makes you think that there's someone else, that there's another voice, and that voice is, a part of you. And while it is a part of you, it's not truly you. You are the listener of the voice. You are hearing the voice. And you have to realize that that thing that you are listening to is not really you. It's not really it can be influenced by the things that you've gone through. It can be influenced by certain things that you have experienced in your life, of course, but it's not you. And you have to realize that it's your mind. Okay, so the first reason you have to understand when it comes to your inner voice is that it's not you. That's the first reason that you need to stop listening to your inner voice. It's not you. The second reason you have to understand that you have to stop listening to your inner voice is because your inner voice is literally that neurotic roommate that likes to start shit. Okay, it's the neurotic roommate, that likes to talk incessantly about everything. It's that roommate that likes to provoke things, that likes to talk shit about everyone. It's that roommate that likes to take a poo and then leave the door open and then complain about the smell. It's that roommate that likes to cook and then leave a whole big old mess and then talk about how messy the house is. It's the roommate that causes the most problems. It's the roommate that causes a commotion. It's the roommate that likes to just stir the pot and create chaos. That's what your mental voice does. It causes commotions for you and prevents you from enjoying life. It just makes things difficult for you. Okay, so that's the second reason you need to stop listening to your inner voice. It will make things difficult for you. It will literally cause commotions in your life and cause commotion in your head. The third reason you need to stop listening to your inner voice is because it is influenced by society. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, I'm 31, for example. Yeah, it's neurotic Nancy. Yes, yeah, Rebecca, you understand what I'm talking about when it comes to that roommate, that neurotic roommate, right? So, for example, the third reason why you need to stop listening to your inner voice is because it's influenced by society. So, for example, I'm 30. I'm not married yet. Maybe there's something wrong with me. That's that inner voice. Or I'm not making six figures in my business yet, so there must be something wrong with my business. That inner voice. Or the inner voice that says because you're not a size 6, that means you must be unattractive and overweight, and unhealthy. That is that inner voice that's affected by society, So you have to realize that you don't have to check all of the boxes that society says that you have to check in order for you to be okay, in order for you to be right, in order for you to be happy. But your inner voice that has been influenced by society will make you think that something's wrong with you. It will make you think that you have to achieve all these unrealistic expectations in order for you to be acceptable by society. And that's once again because your inner voice has been influenced by society, and it causes these chaotic thoughts, and it causes you to have these unrealistic expectations of yourself, making you think that there's a problem with you when really there's a problem with society. Okay, so also let's move on to the fourth reason why you need to stop listening to your inner voice. Your inner voice has been influenced by conditioning. Now, conditioning, what I mean in this sense is, when you were a child, when you were growing up, and your parents' conditioning and how their conditioning has affected you and created your own conditioning. How your siblings have conditioned you to think and behave in a certain way. How your friends have conditioned you to think and behave in a certain way. How your conditioning has created what you have deemed normal or acceptable. And what you have to understand is that your conditioning has made you create, whether you know it or not, a comfort zone. And that comfort zone has you subscribing to certain parameters that you may think are comfortable, but they just keep you stuck in a box, And then once you stop subscribing to that ideology, once you stop subscribing to those to that box, to what you think is acceptable, then you start thinking, okay, well, I must be a crappy person because I'm no longer fitting in this box, or for example, another reason that you need to stop conditioning, understanding that the inner voice is affected by conditioning is because of trauma responses, because of trigger responses, those things cultivate a conditioning that of course influence your inner voice and tell you that you need to either stay away from things or stay away from certain situations because of conditioning. All right. The fifth reason why you need to stop listening to your inner voice is because of self-esteem. Your inner voice can literally lower your self-esteem. Now, what do I mean by that? When your inner voice starts telling you that, am I enough? Or I can't do this, or this is too hard, or, you'll never be successful, or will people stop liking me? Or in the case, because this is an empath group and highly sensitive women group, will people stop liking me when I start really accepting my empath gifts, when I start really accepting and activating my spiritual gifts? So you can literally be right on track in your life with accepting your empath gifts, with activating your empath gifts, with becoming and personifying the person that you were meant to become, living and breathing in your purpose. And then here comes your inner voice telling you that you're not right for this, or you can't do this, or you're not capable, or you're not an expert. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, your confidence that you had like 5 minutes ago just goes, and you're just going in this whirlwind, in these circles of, I can't do this, I'm not enough, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. That's your inner voice. It's your inner voice pretty much ruining your life once again and telling you that you're not confident and you're not capable of doing what you want to do. The sixth reason that you have to stop listening to your inner voice is because your inner voice is not your conscience. Your conscience is your moral guide. Your conscience is what tells you what's right and wrong. Your inner voice is not telling you what's right and wrong. Your inner voice can actually create a whirlwind where you are no longer motivated to change things, to create desirable outcomes. You can actually become destructive in your manners because of your inner voice. You can actually increase feelings of self-hatred because of your inner voice. It can be degrading and punishing when you listen to your inner voice because it's overtly critical of yourself. So you have to understand that your conscience and your inner voice are two different things as well. Okay. Your seventh reason that you have to stop listening to your inner voice is because it creates self-sabotage. It creates the feelings of imposter syndrome. It creates the feelings of, that fear of success, that fear of failure that happens, that creep up on you, When you start to second guess yourself, when you start to second guess your abilities, when you start to second guess your empath gifts, when you start to question your ability to show up in your highest capacity, that's self-sabotage, and that's what your inner voice does. It will self-sabotage you, So one of the reasons that I had to stop listening to my inner voice is because my inner voice started to tell me that I was not capable of being a coach. I was not capable of being an empath. I was not capable of being a spiritual coach. I was not capable. I kept on listening to that, and I started to self-sabotage. I got afraid. I got afraid of showing up for myself. I got afraid of talking to people. I got afraid of realizing that I had a lot to offer, a lot to serve people with, So one of the reasons that you definitely have to stop listening to your inner voice is because it will self-sabotage you. It will keep you stuck. Okay? And your inner voice is also, number 8 reason that you need to stop listening to your inner voice is because it's so judgmental. Your inner voice will judge you worse and more harshly than anyone in the world, and I guarantee that. How often do you tell yourself, this sounds stupid, this looks stupid, I don't look good in this, or I don't sound right, or I don't say the right words, or you start comparing yourself to people or to things, these unrealistic expectations of yourself, and it's because of you listening to that inner voice that's once again just overtly critical, that's too harsh, and will keep you in a place that you are constantly looking at your insecurities because your inner voice knows your insecurities, right? And your inner voice will use those insecurities to tear yourself apart. And the 9th reason that you need to stop listening to your inner voice is because your inner voice is primitive. Okay, your inner voice comes from a primitive mind. Okay, now what do I mean by that? Your primitive mind, your primitive instincts, your survival mechanisms, okay, those have been used and have been activated for millions of years. Okay, we once were hunter-gatherers. We once had to make sure we were, we once had to make sure we were watching out for other tribes, for these large animals that would come and eat us, right? For these, for just any threats that would come to us, right? We had to watch out for that. So our minds have not necessarily evolved to match what our current circumstances are. We no longer have to hunt and gather. We no longer have to watch out for these huge animals that can come and eat us. We no longer have to watch, to an extent, for people in the way that we once had to, even up to hundreds of years ago. We have laws in place. We have things. We have a more ordered society in some ways, way more than we can say from thousands of years ago, right? So, or for even hundreds of years ago, like I said. So we have to learn how to get out of that primitive state. We have to learn how to get out of the surviving state and into the thriving state, because the surviving state gets us further and further away from our highest and truest selves. The surviving state keeps us in a lower frequency, a lower vibration, and in a lower state of being where we don't subscribe to higher parts of ourselves when we don't when we aren't serving our highest and truest selves. Okay, and once again, number 10 reason we need to stop listening to our inner voice is because our inner voice causes us not to trust ourselves. And when we stop trusting ourselves, we move away once again from our highest and truest selves. We start to believe in the negative self-talk, and that negative self-talk starts to circulate within us over and over again. We start to have increased nervousness. We start to belittle ourselves. We start to interfere with our own pursuits of our goals and of our achievements and of our pursuits of happiness or pursuits of anything that we want to do. We start to do that. We start to diminish ourselves. We start to just move away from our goals and aspirations because we stop trusting ourselves. Okay, so those are the 10 reasons that you need to stop listening to your inner voice. And because once you start listening to your intuition instead of your inner voice, you start to activate the highest and truest self. That gets you to understanding that you can activate your empath gifts. That gets you to understanding that you can trust and follow your intuitive guidance. Now, one of the things that I show my clients in the AAA Supercharged Empath program that I will be launching again on October 10th is how to stop judging yourself so harshly, so you can start learning how to tease out what's trauma and what's conditioning from your intuition. You have to understand that triggers will happen, but those triggers don't need to affect your intuition. And that's why you have to understand that your inner voice needs to be compartmentalized from your intuition, from your intuitive guidance. Okay, now one of the things that I show my clients in the AAA Supercharged Empath program is how to observe the inner voice instead of listening to it, and accept your intuitive guidance so you can activate your empath gifts. And when you observe your inner voice, you start to let go of the limiting beliefs that are keeping you in this subconscious mindset of believing that you don't deserve more. You don't deserve to activate your empath gifts. And I use a combination of energy modalities. Also, of course, Reiki, because I'm a Reiki master now. Hey, y'all. So you can start understanding that you don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to stay in these constraints of the limited 3D world. Your beliefs and your energy is in the quantum. It is unlimited in its power and reach, especially when you understand that you have these empath gifts. What you can really do is truly, 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 and I say it and I emphasize that I truly believe that it's unlimited in what you're able to do once you truly activate your empath gifts. So the AAA Supercharged Empath program gets you into a higher state of consciousness so you can fulfill your soul's purpose and trust your intuitive guidance so you can be in the flow and reach your highest and truest self. Now, your empath gifts, your intuition comes from the source. It comes from the spirit. It comes from, whatever you want to call God or, the universe. And it gets you into a place where you can co-create with the universe through a purpose-driven, heart-aligned action when you understand how to trust your intuitive guidance and how to compartmentalize your intuitive guidance from your inner voice. Now, one of the biggest things that you learn to do in the AAA Supercharged Empath program is how to accept what your heart is telling you and how to stay heart aligned, because once you're heart aligned, you are accepting intuitive guidance and you are no longer listening to your inner voice. You're no longer listening and operating from that survival mode. You're no longer in primitive instinct. You're no longer in just survival. Now you're in thriving mode. Now you're in, I'm an empath and I'm going to use my gifts to help people, to heal people, to help ascend people as you start to ascend. Okay, so when you understand how to activate your empath gifts, when you understand how to activate your heart, through, some of the energy modalities and some of the things I'll show you in the AAA Supercharged Empath program, you start to understand that you are a spiritual being. You are operating from a higher and truer self, and you start to activate the powers that you have, with your intuition. So thank you so much for watching this live. I appreciate you. I hope you know that by now. And I have the link in the comments. I'll be posting a link in the comments so you can apply for the waitlist. The waitlist is opening now, and the program will be launching, of course, on the 10th. But because you're in my group, I share a lot more reasons for why you need to stop listening to your inner voice than I'll be sharing with other people on like my profile and whatnot. Also, I open the program up to you first, and then I'll be opening up to my profile and everyone else. So I highly, highly, highly suggest that you get on the wait list now so we can avoid you missing out this time around. And I thank you again for listening to this live. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And once again, I'll be posting that link in the comments for you to apply now. So love you, love you, love you so much. This is Reiki with Radiance, Reiki Master, spiritual coach and empath, Reiki Master and spiritual coach for highly sensitive and empath women tapping into their gifts, and women with an X, to include non-binary women as well. I appreciate you. I love you, and I'll be seeing you guys soon. Also, don't forget, the virtual meetup will be tomorrow on, I think it's 5 p.m. PST. I'll recheck that time, but don't forget to sign in on the Zoom link that I posted in the events tab. The Zoom link is there, and I'll be reaching out to people that said that they were going, just to make sure that you guys don't miss it this time around, because we had a really good time last week and I want to see more of your faces in there. So I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Bye.